Our top story today from the GatewayPundit.com is ABC News shutting down? Well, they're laying off their entire staff, or so that's the rumor on the street. We're covering the crucial details and so much more here on the Gateway Pundits Week in Review. My name is Elijah Schaffer, and this is the Gateway Pundits Week in Review. We're covering the top 5 stories of the last 24 hours. Our top story today is a crucial one, and before we jump into that, I'd like to introduce my co-host today. He is a award-winning journalist and, of course, the host of Inverted World Live. Shane Cashman, welcome to the GatewayPundit.com.
Hey, man, thanks for having me.
Well, we've obviously got to talk about something here. I mean, you're a journalist, I'm a journalist, and we have to be real. Journalists are some of the worst people in the entire world. Would you agree?
If not the worst.
Yeah. I think they're actually ranked lower than Congress right now in terms of approval rating with the American public. Yeah. So people aren't usually too sympathetic with this stuff. But check out our top story. Mike LaChance reported that ABC News is laying off staff and completely cutting polling outfit 538. Here's the full details. The same media bloodbath that has gutted MSNBC and CNN since the 2024 election is now coming to ABC News. The network is laying off staff and even completely cut ties to 538, the data and polling outfit created by Nate Silver, who left the network in 2023. Now, these recent moves come from the parent company Disney, which is dealing with its own issues, which include, but it's not mentioned here, trying to turn your kids gay. The Hill reported ABC News is eliminating 538 amid layoffs. ABC News Group is eliminating its political arm, 538, which specializes in polling, surveys, and data. Amid wider layoffs at the Walt Disney parent company, according to information obtained by The Hill, the layoffs are expected to impact 200 employees, which represents under 6% of the staff at the company and Disney Entertainment Network's unit. 15 employees of 538 will be let go. Now, the Wall Street Journal's first reported the reductions. The move is a part of a broader consolidation efforts that include changes to ABC's on-air programming, sources told The Hill. The details said, hey, in order to justify millions of dollars of programming budget, people have to actually watch the shows, in which ABC responded with, oh, crap. I don't think we can do that. Shane, it's not really a surprise to me with what's going on here that ABC would be cutting staff, particularly when it comes to their news division. I don't really think I didn't even remember that ABC News existed until we started reading the story.
Yeah, it serves the purpose because it's part of the media industrial complex. It's collapsing in on itself. It's funny to me that all these places are laying off their staff during the USAID cuts. Any interesting connection there that they might be part of the propaganda
Politico,
pipeline?
Right? With taking money from USAID.
So I saw, and I'd imagine a lot of these journalists are gonna have to learn to code now. So I'm excited for that new venture for them. But no one watches these shows. The purpose they serve is to be a propaganda arm for left-leaning politicians.
Well, yeah, and I think, not just USAID, but like we've talked about this here because, I love our sponsors, love our advertisers, and we have one coming up in a second. But, you could be an established show like this. We have 3.5 million readers a day. We're the 5th largest conservative outlet in the entire country, right? We're right up there with New York Post and Breitbart. We're like kind of edge to edge with them. And, will be sponsored by conservative brands.
Right.
And you could have 30 people watching your show and talking about, removing children's penises or whatever weird stuff the left is talking about, and it'll be presented by McDonald's,
right.
And so really that's also a corporatism leftist control method where it's like, well, look, you get rewarded for spreading lies on that side and we get punished for giving the truth.
Right. And they've been hand in hand with Big Pharma, with the government.
Oh, yeah.
So they have to have a certain thing they got to sell, sound a certain way. And it seems like, well, we know now for sure after the election that the American people are pretty tired of being lied to by these kind of propaganda arms like CBS or ABC, sometimes the Post, a lot of these places, the Times, and people have turned to podcasts and new media like Trump and his administration. It's the podcast to presidency pipeline, right? Like how many people in that administration have done all these podcasts where long form, unedited, straight up, no middleman between them and the audience. And that's what the people want. So that's what they got. And that's why these places are collapsing.
I happen to agree. And guys, as we talk about this, don't forget, I was watching a video the other day. I'm older, right? I mean, I'm not old, but I'm getting older. I got kids, and energy is one of the biggest things that you want, right? They say time is the most important thing, but what's the quality of your time? That's largely dependent on your energy. And I don't think I've ever woken up a day in my life where I couldn't have used 5 more minutes of sleep It just gets like that, right? You could always sleep a little more. Well, I saw this video of Chuck Norris, and it turns out he was in his 80s, and he's still kicking butt. Now, what's even weirder about this is that he's actually stronger, can work out longer, and even has plenty of energy left over for his grandkids, and he's in his 80s. Now, he did this by just making a simple change in his life. It's just one change. And he says that he still feels like he's in his 50s. That's like a 30-year younger reduction by this one simple change. And ladies, you can take this change too, because his wife started doing this one thing and she's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger. Her body looks leaner. And ladies, I mean, hey, we're not into body shaming here, but let's be honest. Y'all are trying to look leaner and better for the summer. So if you want your energy up, you want to look leaner, watch a special video that Chuck made that explains everything. Make sure you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/pundit. That's CHUCKDEFENSE.com/PUNDIT, or by clicking the link in this video. It'll change the way that you think about your health. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/pundit. Click the link on the screen and in the description. You will not believe how simple it is. Watch his method by clicking the link now. Now, that being said, in other news, it turns out that Representative Tim Burchett says that Epstein files don't exist anymore. Not shocked there. Says any release is doctored and can't be trusted. Jim Hoff has the emerging details. In an interview with Benny Johnson, Representative Tim Burchett revealed shocking information about the long-awaited Epstein files, implying that they have either been destroyed or tampered with beyond credibility. According to Burchett, the American people should not trust any so-called releases of Epstein-related documents, as any version provided by the government will be heavily doctored to protect the elites. What the hell is going on with this list, man? Johnson responded, echoing the frustration of millions of Americans tired of the government stonewalling. We have a copy of the clip here that we'll play for you in just a moment. But as we talk about this and we, get into the details, it's like kind of funny because I want to remind you, a lot of my colleagues, in fact, fell for the scam. They thought they were a part of some big Epstein file release party. And it turned out, well, they're just grifters and didn't do their research. I like a lot of them. Many of them are good people, as Trump said, but I'll just say this. In 2025, we're not sending our best. Watch.
What the hell's going on with this list, man?
Epstein.
What's going? You know, I had to.
I'm glad you did.
It's probably the only guy I'm going to ask because I love you.
And I think.
But what's going on there?
I was on with Geraldo last night, and he says he doesn't think it exists. I don't think it exists anymore. I think they've doctored it, and I don't think we shouldn't trust what comes out. I just think it's they've delayed it, and there was no. And she was way over her skis when she said that it's sitting on my desk. Now, why the heck would she say that? Why would she say that? I mean, she's big dogging it, and it blew up in her face. That was a stupid move.
So apparently a big dump truck full of evidence came into the DOJ after some key firings in the FBI. Do you believe that?
I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay.
It's just like the Kennedy files and the UFO files and RFK and JFK. It's just it's been too long, and all of a sudden, we're going to look at President Trump starts raising Cain about John F. Kennedy, and all of a sudden they find 14,000 new files just out of the blue. I mean, it's like, what is this? Raiders of the Lost Ark, warehouse that they got this stuff in. I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's a cover up. The sewer is groaning right now because of Donald J. Trump. I just pray he stays healthy.
Yeah. Okay, Shane. Oh, look, I wish that my bank account was like government documents where you think you only have so much and then you just keep finding more and more and more.
Nice.
The 14,000 would be nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was 14,000 available. I think my understanding of this is the fact that Pam Bondi obviously has stated that she has, outside interests. She was friends with McCain. Mm-hmm. She is a neocon. Yep. And we saw the neocons switch over to the Democrat Party in the last election. Mm-hmm. I don't trust her. Yep. And I don't know if she's just dumb and ignorant and she got played along with the American public, or if they're publicly mocking us now by showing us how dumb our influencers and media arm is, and how much they want attention that they didn't even investigate the validity of the claims before boasting to the American people. Yep. Where do you fall on? What do you think this is?
Where do we start? Okay, we'll start with the White House PR stunt first, because I have a lot of friends there as well. I don't have any ire for them yet, like you do. I have ire for the White House because I think they set up this PR stunt. There's other rooms those people could have walked through to get outside. They were like, we're going to print out binders and give them to these people and then walk them out to the press and then blame it on, the prime minister being there. I think they set it up because they wanted some other story. And I don't know about the 4D chess theory that people talk about. I just think it was their way of saying, this is what we're going to do. We're going to give to the influencers who helped get you in the office, to Trump in office, which a lot of them did. And it backfired. I thought it was a horrible look. I felt embarrassed that they did that. So there's that. And with what Burchett's saying, I agree with. I don't think there's even files. Why would these people hold on to these files all this time? There's been so many people in charge of these files who you can't trust. Why are they just in storage? Why should the American people believe anything that comes out, even if it's the Trump administration now releasing it? Why weren't those, vetted, not vetted, but like, why don't you think those were manipulated?
Do you think that is a possibility that Trump was in those documents?
I mean, he might very well be on the logs, and I'd like to know. And being on the logs doesn't mean that you're guilty automatically, but I'm sure there's a lot of people, because Epstein infiltrated every part of society. Hollywood, science, like the universities, obviously politics. Anyone could be on that list, And then someone who's probably the cynical side of my brain was what Burchett's saying sounds like something that someone would say who's on those lists. Don't trust the list, whatever's on them. So I don't know what to think. Other than that, the only thing I would like to see is accountability of the people who were hiding whatever files there were. Right?
Well, they're even protecting the victims, which I think, okay, I understand that in many ways, the ploy of protecting victims, but I do find it to be odd, like you said, that people really think the government, it's like, oh, we're going to get UFOs. I did like what he said, and the JFK files. It's like, look, I know that our intelligence agencies are working with some foreign government intelligence agencies to protect both our elites and their elites.
Right.
And there is basically no way that these people would go out of their way to assassinate the president of the United States or to molest, untold amount of young victims, fly people to an island, Little St. James, tape them, set them up in a hotel, confront them, blackmail them, and then go, you know what? Maybe the only step that we're not going to think through is if we get caught.
Right.
And many people say that they caught themselves. You know what I mean? Like kind of like the Diddy stuff. It's where's the Diddy tapes?
Right.
And I always say, they go, well, got to protect the victims. I go, well, look, I don't need to see Justin Bieber being molested by Diddy, but if you show me a video of Diddy approaching, an image. You can even blur, Justin Bieber's face out, and I can see that that's clearly like a 14-year-old boy, and Diddy's about to approach him.
Right.
Just a screenshot. That's enough evidence for me. Like, all right, that guy's guilty.
I would say protecting victims is transparency.
Correct.
And protecting future victims would be
the perps would be hiding it.
Right. Like we need
crazy.
Actual transparency here. So I don't know if we'll ever get it. That's why the FBI, the New York FBI chief who just stepped down, who was forced to resign. I'd like to see that lead to something else. Like I believe that guy's probably involved with a lot more corruption than we even know about yet. That guy's got some weird ties to Epstein. The Epstein case, Epstein's, we all know, was in the federal prison in New York City that's now shut down because of how corrupt it was. A lot of shady stuff going on there. Even a connection to the guy, this New York FBI chief has a connection to the guy who beat up Epstein in the jail because they're from the same town, right? The crime that guy was in jail for happened in the town that FBI guy's from. It's a very strange coincidence to me.
Yeah, it's always the same people, right? Like Comey and these individuals who are always involved. His daughter in every case that's going out there. It's a universal structure.
Comey's daughter was overseeing this guy's case, who I'm talking about, Nicholas Tartaglione.
Well, and that's. Look, we're not going to go too far into the Tates in this interview, but I do think it's funny that, obviously we're in West Palm Beach County right now, where the studio is. People know this is where Epstein lived. This is where his main operations and businesses were based out of, and they're trying to talk about Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate. If you're not familiar with who they are, they're just big, pro-male influencers that are out there. They were under some controversial investigations in Romania for some very severe crimes. The case was dismissed. The Trump administration agreed that there was no real charges, and actually Rick Grinnell helped get them into back to the United States. They are American citizens. Yep. It is weird to me that, after the entire right wing just got duped on Epstein, they start jumping on the Tates, who have not been credibly proven to have committed crimes, according to court documents. Whether you disagree with their moral choices, fair enough, right? Yeah. We're not taking a stance on this network on people's personal sex lives. But I do feel like it's just a distraction because they fumbled the Epstein thing so badly. It's like, well, check out these guys. And it's like, come on, man. I'm still stuck on Epstein.
Do you think if the Tates go to jail in Florida, they'll get the same sweetheart deal that Florida gave Epstein, where he was able to leave all the time? He
was, right?
He had a great prison sentence. He was able to leave. He was able to work, can't come and go as he pleases.
Sounds like a nice prison. Sounds like a marriage.
Pam Bondi was the AG of the state at the very end of Epstein's time in jail. So I'm not saying she's got connections to that because his sweetheart deal.
She could though.
But it's weird. Yeah, and like I don't like her stance on two-way. She had a lot of weird red flag law sympathies.
I don't know what Trump was doing with that. I don't know why he put her as AG. It's so bizarre.
Yeah, it stinks. He's definitely better this time around at picking people, but he still has those bad picks.
But is it bad, or is it just the fact that the deep state is so deep that to get anyone really good through is impossible? You know what I mean? Like, it could be.
It's hard to know. It
could be that case, right? And it's sort of like asking your wife what she wants to eat for dinner. It's like, well, it could be anything. And ultimately speaking, just make sure that you choose your best, because in the end, you're going to be picking it. Right. And you might not pick what she wanted, which, by the way, little tip on that, rather than asking a woman in your life, what do you want to eat for dinner, be like, say, guess where we're going to dinner.
Ooh.
And then when she guesses, you go, yes.
That's right. You got it.
Oh, my gosh.
This is good marriage advice.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. We're going, yes. I literally just did that with my wife. She was like, I was like, guess what we're doing for dinner? She goes, we're going to a steakhouse. I go, yes.
That's great. You're like Googling really quick.
Yes, we are. And guess which one? Eddie V's? Yes. Wow. Oh my gosh. We're headed there. They're headed there on Wednesday.
Just saved some marriages.
Yeah, we're saving marriages. Anyway, guys, I want to remind you guys that obviously not everyone gets out of jail easily. A lot of you are like me, and I go to bed at night crying because my crypto wallet is in the gutter. But the world's smartest investors clearly are not buying oil stocks right now, and the stock market isn't doing great. They're actually doing something called mailbox money that they're collecting from oil royalties instead. I'm talking about passive income that shows up a month after month. Starting with as little as just $25, you can go to ElijahOil.com, ElijahOil.com. Discover how to tap into monthly royalty checks from America's most productive oil basin. You don't need to be wealthy or connected. You just need a regular brokerage account. That's ElijahOil.com to learn how you can start collecting oil royalty checks every month. The link's on the screen and the description. Find out what the Oxford Club can offer you today at ElijahOil.com. Get those royalty checks and plan against not giving into the markets. Be smarter than that. Our next story is quite interesting. Joy Behar of The View gets schooled on Trump's mandate by Stephen Smith. Yesterday on The View, Joy Behar got an education from guest Stephen A. Smith of ESPN. Behar was downplaying the size of Trump's election win in November and suggesting that he does not have a mandate. Stephen A. Smith said that he is not a Trump supporter, but wants to say that Trump absolutely does have a mandate. He then explained why. We have a clip for you here that we'll watch in just a moment. But I think it's remarkable that people think that people voted for Trump because we didn't have a reason to. My reason was mass deportations. Haven't seen that. But we're very distracted with these budget cuts. Won't complain about them, but that's not why I voted. I'd love to know in the comments why you did. Check out this clip from The View.
He's only been in office for 6 weeks. Seems like 6 years, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. And he's been going around with his cronies touting his so-called landslide and blowout win. But he won the popular vote by 1.5%, one of the smallest ever. And he won the general election by less than 50%. So what kind of mandate is this really?
Well, it is a mandate, and I'm going to explain why. And I don't mind the question, but let me be very clear. I'm no supporter of Trump. I'm a supporter of truth and the facts. And here's the facts. The man won every swing state. He increased in terms of his voter turnout in his favor from the standpoint of blacks, Latinos, and young voters. He increased his numbers in that regard from 2020. 89% of the counties shifted to the right. That's a mandate. We can sit up there and play around all we want to. In 2020, Trump didn't win the popular vote. He didn't win the electoral college vote. A matter of fact, the Republicans hadn't won the popular vote, if I remember correctly, since 2004. But they did this year. So 20 years after they last won the popular vote, they won the popular vote. They won the electoral college vote. The man won every swing state. And on top of it all, 89% of the counties shifted against. I don't understand how people can look at that and say, there's no mandate. There's a mandate.
Well, it's a different definition of a mandate, I guess.
But the problem is that if you're the Democratic Party and you lost 49.8% to 48.3%, and you're looking at that 1.5% dip, that's an excuse for you to say, what we did really wasn't that bad.
Some people didn't
we should continue to do that.
Do you
no,
think that
don't continue to do that. Find a new strategy.
Right. Find a new strategy. I don't understand, but I do understand Joy Behar because I think she's mentally handicapped. But Stephen Smith is saying, look, you can say that you don't like Trump, but Americans overwhelmingly do. And by the way, from being around for a long time, you were too, from the first administration, this is the first time we've had a Trump where the majority of Americans, both popular and electorally, not just power, but actually by numbers, do support Trump, or at least due to voter turnout, right? And I think that is really changed what it means to be a Trump supporter, and also has woken a lot of Democrats up to realize maybe, just maybe, you guys have done something wrong.
Joy Behar is the personification of toxoplasmosis. Her brain is totally gone, and she's built an entire career off hate for Trump now. And if she were to go back on that, it would mean her entire worldview is so wrong. She can't admit that.
Is that the cat poop infection?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Cat poop is in her brain.
Yeah.
Clearly, because she's all hate. She reminds me a lot of my old friends from New York who don't talk to me anymore, who, God forbid, I make fun of Zelensky in an Instagram post. I get emails from them saying, I've lost my humanity. I'm like, I've lost my humanity because I don't want to send my money to Ukraine to
It's like Jeremy
people.
Boring at the Daily Wire.
Yeah.
If you talk to someone I disagree with, you're not a human.
It's weird how my atheist friends from New York are also like Jeremy Boring.
Yeah.
Interesting connection there. But yeah, that's what they sound like. And I'm so sick of it. But they're so entrenched in hate. It's everything they do. Their entire identity is anti-Trump. So everything they say has got to signal to that I hate Trump. Like a lot of my former friends from New York who they think what I say is hateful sometimes or hurtful, but they have no problem promoting and or doing the castration of children.
Do you see this? Right Wing Cope, which is a popular website, X page that makes fun of right-wingers, took the little 13-year-old cancer patient that was given like an honorary police job and was like, hey, Doge, I have a DEI hire to report. And I got community noted saying, DJ Daniel is a 13-year-old child with cancer. He was given an honorary title. He wasn't hired. Like, like you said, they're making fun of children cancer patients. That's crazy.
Democrats have a long history of building their platform out of the bodies of dead children.
That's a deep statement, but very true.
That's what they do. Like, look at David Hogg. He's like the next iteration of that. You know, they use dead bodies to profit from and push their
David Hogg's
ideology.
so skinny. He's gonna die soon, probably.
He looks like
he looks like he's emaciated. No, and I agree with that. And I wish people would maybe use their brains a little better. That being said, incoming President Trump is to sign executive order to abolish Department of Education. Christina Lila reported just this afternoon that President Trump will sign an executive order to abolish the Department of Education as early as Thursday, the Wall Street Journal reported. Earlier this week, the Senate voted 51-45 to confirm Linda McMahon or Minda McMahon? I don't know. As the 13th Secretary of Education, President Trump vowed to wage war with Education Department and give power back to the states, saying, on day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory. But by the way, this is kind of funny. When I say that Trump didn't do enough, critical race theory and DEI are really just anti-white policies, which it's a sort of a shame that we can't just be honest about that. We're not very race focused here at this network, so I'm not going to go so deep into that. But I do think that diversity where you don't have a lot of push for diversity in the NBA. You know, you don't have a lot of traditionally black colleges pushing to allow white students to join. This is really just to kind of bully white people with this whole leftist, white guilt and shame mentality. And I do have to say to the people who don't give him credit that maybe are a little further on the right, he is attacking this sort of discrimination, this one-way racism that white Americans particularly have been facing for many, many decades. And I feel like this could be a very good move towards restoring unity in our country and maybe thwarting some of that toxic, racism towards the white communities in the United States, because it starts in the schools.
Yeah, I love this. I want it gone. There's a lot of other places gone, like the IRS. But I will say it's not a total win yet. Kicking it back to the states, it's got to really, we got to from the bottom up, parents need to really stop outsourcing their education and their morality to schools and everywhere else in the computer, because that's the issue right now with a lot of people. They're sending their kids off and then really not thinking about it afterwards. So their kids are getting indoctrinated by these places, the public schools. And just because it's kicked back to the states doesn't mean that every red state is safe either. because there's public schools. I'm in West Virginia now, and I see a lot of public schools in very red areas, and they're indoctrination camps because the teachers, the people who decided to teach and go to those schools, went to universities where they were indoctrinated, right? So it's like this human centipede of indoctrination, and that's why we homeschool, because I just don't trust any of it. So while this is great, this is a great move. It's really got to come down to like how people are at home and how focused you are on your own kids and being very, on top of what's going on when they're at school.
I happen to agree with that. That being said, the Department of Education is supposed to be abolished entirely. And, I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments, whether you agree with that matter. Our last story today, breaking news. House has censured Democratic Representative Al Green for disrupting President Trump's address to Congress, with 10 Democrats voting yes. Democrats start signing like idiots following vote, or singing, I guess. Okay. Sometimes the news is so confusing. I read words wrong because I think in my mind, what I'm talking about? Like,
it's a circus.
That they were signing, because it's like they're politicians, and it's like, no, they were singing.
That's
right.
Huh?
Like, what the hell is going on here?
It's like nurses TikToking, right?
Yeah.
It's like, why are they doing that? Why are these
But
things
I read
together?
this and it's like, you're just like, okay, this doesn't make sense. But listen to the story. The House of Representatives voted today to censure Representative Al Green for his stupid stunt during President Trump's joint address to Congress. The vote was 224 to 198. Every Republican voted yes, while 10 Democrats surprisingly also voted to censure. The 10 Democrats who voted to censure Green were Amy Barra of California, Ed Case, Jim Costa, Laura Gillen, Jim Himes, Chrissy Houlihan of Pennsylvania, Marcy Kaptur, Jared Maskowitz, Mary Glusenkamp, and Tom Suzy. I want to see
Those sound
this.
like fake names. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, let me see this. Here's the singing. So following the vote, Democrats started singing. This is so good. Let's watch this.
Representatives for the pronouncement of censure, and that Representative Al Green be censured with public reading of this resolution by the Speaker. The House had come to order. The House had come to order. What's it?
You want to let him keep doing this, or totally clear?
The House had come to order. Clear the well, please. Clear the well. The House has to continue its business.
And if there are reasons, you can do that too. It's in the link
Just figure out
Yeah, you just asked, what are they singing?
It's a slave song.
Pursuant to Clause 12A of Rule 1,
But it sounds like it. These people just hate you. They just hate you. Like when they didn't stand and clap for at least a kid with brain cancer, like they just hate you. They hate everything about you, and it's disgusting. Like Al Green, that guy seems like someone who would join ISIS now, right? Like that's how much they hate. Like he will go sell fentanyl to children if it can't flow freely across the border. That's how much these people hate you. They want destruction.
I have to always question, to how much these people are corrupted and how much they are funded by outside groups. This is why I sometimes I get upset that, even with shows like this or whatever, that we can't be a little more brutally honest, maybe that's as I'd like to be, right, about certain topics. Because look, we have a country that's completely under threat of extinction.
Yep.
And our enemies are in power, and they have to be, removed, is all I'll say. They're going to have to be removed. When we have people like Al Green occupying our government, that is not a friend of the country.
Right.
That is not somebody who loves you. That is not somebody who cares about your children and their well-being. This is a man who's out to destroy our country and resist any type of positive change. And it's really disgusting. And it alarms me as a father. And I really do think we need some very radical transformations in the systemic issues of our government to be changed, including removing these crazy people, getting back to a little bit of what our forefathers wanted for our nation, and stop, our government is like the modern Protestant church now. Just like make it up as you go.
Yeah.
Like you walk up to some pastor with like shoes off, being like talking about stories from his Christmas, and you're like,
Right.
what does this have to do with God and sacrament and holiness? Same thing with government. It's like women singing with like African hair ties,
It was like
and
that
weird.
That bishop who was at the day after the Trump inauguration, right? The lady who had to talk about LGBT rights and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, but it's a death cult. Like some of them are obviously just corrupt. They're getting paid by some foreign country or some interior enemy to the country. But some of them I think are really just cultists, and they believe that, you know, their corruption, what we see as corruption, is righteousness. So they'll do whatever they have to do to continue that righteousness, you know, because they think we and the people we might vote for are an actual threat to their lives. Whereas, you know, I believe it's the opposite of that. But they're willing to go to great lengths. And that's why I, you know, bring it back to people I know in my own life. Their mental illness is like increasing. It's accelerating rapidly in the second Trump administration.
It's like synaptic degradation. Like it's like something's they're getting further and further away from reality.
They're going to become the very thing that they hated, the very thing that they accused you and I of probably being, you know, during 2020 in the riots, when they were actually funding rioters who were violent and arsonists. They will become that again. And I'm seeing them accept the idea of violence. Honestly, I was with people in New York on the day Trump just narrowly missed the bullet, narrowly missed his head, right? Mm-hmm. And an old friend up there was cheering that it happened. And I'm like, wow, these people are so bloodthirsty. But you know, those are the kind of people who vote in someone like Al Green because they share the same immorality.
Yeah, and you know what? When it comes to these leaders, guys, you know, and we know that these people are not our friends. They're not our allies. But of course, we have to, you know, play the game a little bit, and we got to still be kind because, well, we still live in a very real world with real consequences, even though in many ways it's a clown show. I'm Elijah Schaffer. Don't forget, you can follow me on X at Elijah Schaffer. You can get up to date with all of my crazy shenanigans there. You can also follow me on my locals. It's the best place. Like, a lot of you guys keep asking me, where do you follow me? How do you get my stuff? Go to my locals. It's ElijahSchaffer.locals.com. It's my name. .locals.com. It's basically where I keep up to date with everyone. So if you need to talk to me or you want to know what's going on in my life, that's my best social media. You can follow me there. My guest today and co-host, Shane Cashman. He's a journalist and, of course, a host of his own show. If people want to find you, if they want to follow you, if they want to keep up with you, how can they do so? Yeah,
thanks for having me, Elijah. It was awesome. You can find me online at all the places at Shane Cashman. My books are at shanecashman.com, and the show is Inverted World Live. That's Sunday at 6 o'clock on YouTube and Rumble. See you there.
Amazing. Shane Cashman, ladies and gentlemen, you should keep up with his work. We appreciate you guys. I don't know. Oh, here it is. Don't forget, if you want to support independent media and journalism, I should put that there. You can sign up for our mug club at thegatewaypundit.com. That way you actually get to directly financially benefit yourself and your future with real news and takes every single day, from original investigations to, you know, we have a reporter in the White House. The reality is that we are continuing to fight a good fight every day, thanks to you guys who support us by grabbing one of these mugs, thegatewaypundit.com. Have a great rest of the week. May God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.